Senator Rosen, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you both for being here today, and good to see you here and the really thoughtful answers. I want to build a little bit on what Senator Scott was talking about in countering the rising Chinese influence. So, Director Haynes, of course, we know in recent months, China has rapidly increased its engagement around the world. It includes brokering, actually trying to broker troubling agreements between, to reestablish diplomatic ties between Iran and Saudi Arabia, offering to broker peace deals between Ukraine and the Russian aggressors. So these incidents, they highlight China's persistent presence and intention to exert its influence and match the U.S. as a global power. So how can the U.S. address China's increasing involvement in global diplomatic matters? And can we expect to see more countries try to turn to China as a mediator? And what do you think the implications of this pivot would mean to us?
Thank you, Senator. It's a very thoughtful question. I think, obviously, China is engaging in international fora in and of itself is not a challenge or a problem. It's how they engage and the way in which they use that engagement to actually undermine, for example, global norms and the international order in the way that we have designed it. We have spent quite a bit of time in the intelligence community trying to map out how they are approaching their engagement in international fora in order to do just that. And I would say that this is a place where we've been looking at their efforts to essentially sort of garner influence and change the direction of international organizations so as to support their particular approach to global norms, which is more aligned with an authoritarian system. And you look at organizations such as the ITU or the International Telecommunications Union and other places where I think there have been concerns about China's influence and efforts in those spaces. And that's something I know the policy community is focused on trying to manage. I think another aspect of it is, as you rightly point out, their effort to try to create coalitions. I would have to say that in that area, we've seen them have mixed success. You know, there's sort of things like the 17+1 forum and other things like that that they've tried to do where because they took quite a bullying approach to trying to get other countries to do what they wanted to do, it actually backfired to some extent on them and they weren't able to engage in as much influence as we thought. And there are yet other variations on the theme that I think are important to our work moving forward. Maybe General Barrier has more.
Yeah.
I believe China is trying to enhance its reputation on the global stage. When I look at the examples that you gave, we're a key security partner with the kingdom, and we're a key security partner with Ukraine. We also have influence, and we're in discussions with those partners every single day on really tough issues. And I think whether those are military diplomats in the Defense Attaché Service or the work that our State Department is doing, we've got a great message.
Well, I want to build on this because China's gaining a hold in the Middle East. They want to gain a hold there. And our partners in the region, they want to hedge. They may want to hedge what they could perceive as America's diminishing global engagement. So building on what you're talking about, how does the U.S., how do we reassure our allies and partners in the Middle East, but more broadly, that we will remain a force for stability and security and steadfast with them in the region.
So even though our military commitments have come down in the central region, U.S. Central Command is still very active in this area. We have a forward headquarters in Qatar. We have deployed forces there still, and it's not a large number, but they're actively there. And we have long-standing relationships with these partners, and so it's our ability to continue to communicate with them to demonstrate American resolve in the region and to bring what it is that the U.S. brings.
Director, anything? No? Yeah, we had a recent trip there, and I think that was the biggest concern from at least the Abraham Accord countries that we visited, that we would remain steadfast in the region. And speaking of the region, I only have 33 seconds left, so I will just ask this for the record, but I really want to talk about Iran and Russia, their defense cooperation, how concerned we are about the sale of Russian aircraft and air defense systems to Iran. I'll take that off the record as unless you can answer in about 30 seconds, I'll just, we know what Iran is seeking from Russia.
Certainly, I think this is a relationship. The Iranians are gaining some benefit for providing munitions, UAVs and such to the Russians. We're watching it very, very carefully, and we'll see where this relationship goes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Rosen.